This is the 40th year of the People's Voice Café. We will have a celebration of that in the fall, and some of the people you see here will be that also. We want to thank the church, the Doolittle Fund, the Puffin Fund, Folk Music Society of New York for their support. You can help too by becoming a subscriber, making a donation. Also just letting people know about it. Come back, bring your friends during intermission, and intermission will be short. Food is in the hallway. Intermission will be 15 minutes or less, depending on how long we go here. We want to thank all the volunteers who've helped. So a number of months ago I contacted Bob Sherman. I would have loved him to MC this, co-MC this. Bob was not able to do that. He said, wouldn't you know it, it's like the one gig I have in months. It's the same day. But he wrote a note for us. This is his notes from Bob. I cut it down just a bit. I can very clearly date my love for folk music to a hootenanny in 1948. That's when I was still a gleam in my parents' eye. When I flipped out over Pete Seeger singing and whipping up a banjo storm with the Cumberland Mountain Bear Chase. That same night I spent the bulk of my teenage wealth for a 78 p.m. recording, 75 cents. And later that year sat pretty much at his feet in Croton when Pete chased that bear again during a fundraiser for Henry Wallace's presidential campaign. A decade later, after I had finally worked up the courage to introduce myself, we began exchanging postcards, and I was proud to bring Pete to WQXR. Fast forward, 1969, when Pete was preparing to launch the Clearwater Festival, and I was ready to launch a contemporary folk music program on QXR. I chose to title the show with a phrase Pete had concocted to refer to himself and others following in the music and social footsteps of Woody. And so with the blessings of Marjorie Guthrie and Pete as my very first guest, Woody's Children went on the air 50 years ago this past January. My greatest frustration then, and in the many interviews since, was my total inability to get Pete to talk about himself. He'd go on forever about other artists, recount all sorts of adventures with Woody, talk about concerts with the Almanacs, but ask about his personal philosophy, religious beliefs, even the moral convictions that prompted him to leave the Weavers, and he changed the subject on the spot. I guess Pete felt his opinions and views were plain enough to be deduced from his actions. He lived the life he sang about. So how wonderful that we're gathering here to celebrate the man, his music, his ideals, and yes, his wisdom. I so much wish I could be with you on this occasion, but I know you'll have a great party, and as Pete urged all of us who loved him in old devil time, gather round and sing it one more time. So, what can we say about Pete? It's been some 5 years since he died. Still, we remain his children, as we are Woodies and Leadbellies, Aunt Molly Jackson and Sarah Ogan Gunnings, and many more. We are also Toshi's children, whose contribution helped make Pete who he is. When we carry on the tradition of singing truth to power, we keep them alive. A traditional belief in Mexico says that we each have 3 deaths: when we stop breathing, then when we are buried, and last when we fade from memory. So when we keep these trailblazers in our hearts and pass on the music and stories to our children, they continue to live. They continue to live. As Pete would agree, there's a time for everything. Pete Seeger presente. To everything, turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to reap. free, a time to kill, a time to heal, a time to laugh, a time to weep. To everything, turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven.
A time to build up, a time to break down, a time to dance, a time to mourn, a time to cast away storms, a time to gather stones together.
To everything, turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. A time of love, a time of hate, a time of war, and a time of peace. A time you may embrace, a time to read, embracing. To everything, turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to gain, a time to lose, a time to rent, a time to sow, a time for love,